Hello friends, welcome back to the craft room. I am really glad that you're here. I'm having a hard time hearing myself. Do you remember when I was like, we are definitely doing buttons on Thursday, be there. And then I lost my voice, so I definitely jinxed myself, which is okay. Like, I don't feel sick or anything. I really do think it's a stress response because I was doing too much, even though my body was like, hey, simmer down. And I was like, nah, I'll be good. So this is definitely sounding a lot better than it was. I didn't even have a voice a couple days ago. So I was really glad that I did Night Stars like ahead of time because I would not have been able to make that video. So hopefully this isn't absolutely terrible to listen to. I think it'll get better the more that I talk and the farther we get in the video. But if it really is terrible, please let me know and then we'll like retry it another day. So I just really did not want to postpone this one more week considering I've already moved it back once. So we're making it happen. I'll try not to be in my head and be self-conscious about it. There have been plenty of times where I'm like, just start over. That sounds terrible, but it is what it is, right? Okay, here is Buttoned Up and Raspy Voice. What a magical combo. I wanted to show you first off right here where they have the bonus heart button, and you can see that I have added it to the top. I have replaced this button right here with the heart because I think of all the buttons, that's definitely my least favorite, and I would much rather have a heart. And it might be their color combo as well. There's a lot of color combos in here that I'm not a fan of, but to each their own. So I just wanted to point out that I will not be making that button, but maybe we'll run through it at the very end, just because we can, right? And maybe you're keeping that button. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm just forever winging things. I don't know if you guys think that's like cute or annoying. There's only two ways that that can go. All right, let's talk about how we're gonna do this. It comes with a diagram and specific instructions per block, but I have found that if I just cut the pieces, following the diagram is plenty. I'm going to do these little buttonholes right here in the middle first, and then I'm going to add our corners to these two strips so that by the time we're done, we have this whole center done, and then we'll go on from there. Does that make sense? So let's get our end pieces together. That is 4 light blue, and that is 2 dark blue. And then we have O, which is going to go in between our buttonholes, like that. And then we have Q as our sides. Oh, but that O, the O needs to be dark blue. Heavens, good thing I caught that. Because I was like, that doesn't look right. Okay, O is dark blue because this right here is dark. Then we have 2 Q's that'll go on either side. And then we need M, 2 M's. And we'll need 4 more N's, but these ones are going to need the diagonals in them. So if I've already drawn them, we're going to put these N's in the corners here on both of these strips. And then for our buttonholes, we're just going to sew these 3 squares in a row just like that. So I'll just do these 2 and then add the blue on the end. So let's jump through at least this far and then I'll check back in. So here are those 2 strips with our squares on the corners. I have sewn right on that diagonal. And then we've got our buttonholes right here. Let's trim these strips and we will go iron. Just a reminder for these little squares, be careful when you're pressing so that they don't warp. I'm going to set the seam first, which is just putting your iron on that seam. And then I think I'm going to iron these seams open, just so when we start putting all this together, it's not really chunky right there in the middle. And I think opening up the seams will help that lay down. So for this trimming, we're going to go 1/4 inch off of that seam. If you'd like to use your ruler and a rotary cutter, you totally can. I feel like my voice has taken on a different, like, rattly tone, so that's nice. Let me go iron and I'll be back. Okay, there we have those strips with the corners ironed up and over. Put those down, and here we have our buttonholes. We are going to take letter O, and we are going to sew these buttonholes together. So this is a pretty easy construction here. So I've got the one strip down the middle, and now we're just going to sew these to the other side of that strip. So we'll end up with that little dark blue plus sign in there. And again, I'm going to go iron those seams open, just so that everything lays smoothly. Okay, I said open, but then I got over there and I changed my mind. So you can see there's the open seams between my little squares, and I just decided to iron the blue up and over, and it actually lays really nicely even that way. I think it might have made more of a mess to iron it open. So here's how we learn, right? Trial and error. So I definitely think that was better for me. Let's get 2 Qs, again, still dark blue. We are going to sew those to both sides of our buttonholes. And then once we have that middle done, then we're going to assemble that, and you can see that we already have the middle of our button. So cute, right? Let's put all of this together, and then we will work on the outer light blue button. Ta-da! Even my giggle is weird. Okay, I have 2 notes that I can speak. Ha, ha, ha. That's what I discovered. So my normal quirkiness is being caged in today. Because I can't even, ta-da, at the caliber that I want to. You can laugh with me, it's okay. But every time I laugh, it like crackles in my throat. Makes me sound like I've got emphysema or something. Sorry. Okay, moving on. There is the middle of our button. Let's move on to the bigger strips, but it's pretty much the same construction. We just have these big long strips at the top and then 2 side pieces. This is so simple. So let's get our light blue big strips. We're going to need 4 background squares, which I have right here. It's these cutie peaches. So I think that the peaches go really well with all of these colors, but I was really hoping that the peaches would kind of tone down the craziness that is this like orange button. And I think it actually does the job pretty well. So just my thought process. I don't know if you wanted it, but I gave it to you. So let's get these laid out, right sides up. Same process for those. We're going to stick our backgrounds in those top corners. We're going to sew right on that diagonal, and then we'll trim 1/4 inch off. That little curl there is going to make me crazy. How dare you curl fabric where I need to put a square? Phew. Okay, and then last but not least, we have our 2 side pieces, and these are going to go on either side of our button here. Just like that. So let's work on these squares, and while we're sewing those together, we will sew those side pieces on. You ready? And there we have, again, our 2 strips. And our middle piece, we'll go iron all of this together. We're going to cut that 1/4 inch seam allowance off of the seam there. And let's go iron all of these open. Again, reminder with the corners, be careful, set the seam and then gently fold up and over and then just put your iron on top. Well, you can do what you want. I'm sorry, I'm not being bossy. You do what you want. That's just my suggestion. We'll see you in a second. There we have the middle piece and the top and bottom piece. Oh my gosh. That was very magical ironing over there. Listen, I almost sound like me. That was pretty close. Let's put the strip onto the top, strip on the bottom, and then we have a button. Ready? And ta-da! We've made a button. Yay! Congrats, friends. We did it. That wasn't so bad. It sounded bad. Isn't this cute? That looks so good in there. It's already coming along. We will be doing sashing together. Again, pretty easy concept, but we might as well just do it because we can, right? So once we finish at least one row, then we'll talk about sashing and getting that strip in between our blocks. And ouch, that hurt. Ouch. Shall we? We will do it together. So you'll have to let me know in the comments below what you think about the heart. Are you going to do the heart or are you going to keep the other block? I really do think that you can add the heart on the end because why not, right? This is 6 by 5. So you'd end up with a 6 button row. So you just end up with 6 by 6, which I don't think is a bad thing. So let me know what you're going to do with the heart or if you're just going to scratch it all together and not even add it. So we will see you on Monday. I'm sure everything will be better by then and I'll sound like my normal self. I can even hear my normal self now, so that's really nice, except for when I laugh. I need to get that rasp because my poor vocal cords are like, SOS! Okay, I'm done talking. We'll see you next time, friends. Bye!